and a heartfelt and emotional message from public advocate Jumaane Williams following two separate incidents this week in which black men were targeted.
I am not okay today. I really am not. We are trying to deal with tens of thousands of people dying from COVID, disproportionately in the black and brown community. There is no bigger fish to fry than the institution of racism and bigotry that is pervasive in every damn institution across this city, state, and this country. How dare you?
Into words, the outrage that a lot of African Americans are feeling following the death of George Floyd and the racist confrontation in Central Park. He joins us this morning live. So, Jumaane, good morning to you. I understand it's such a difficult time right now in America to be a black and brown person. You know, I'm white. I won't ever understand what exactly you're feeling as you wake up this morning. I'm outraged, but I'll never know what you're feeling. So you expressed some real pain this morning. You expressed some real pain this week during that press conference. What was the breaking point for you?
You know, I think being black in America, it's drips and drips and drips. I remember people clutching their purses as I tried to ask for the time, being followed in stores. You live with this, and it's drips and drips and drips, and it gets into a bucket, and that bucket will sometimes overflow. As an elected official, I try to make my overflow as constructive as possible, but I wanted to create a space for people to be able to say they are not okay, and we do not have to continue to go to work the next day and pretend that we are, and that black women don't have to be in spaces where they feel they can't say something or they're called angry black women. That it's okay to just say that we are not okay. And there was the combination of everything. You know, I haven't been able to watch the Ahmaud Arbery video or the George Floyd video. We're waiting for Breonna Taylor, and then to see Amy Cooper, and then to see a high-ranking official in NYPD say we have bigger fish to fry. It all just became overwhelming.
You know, MLK Jr. said once, and his quote was, "A riot is the language of the unheard." That was his quote years ago. That outrage spilling onto the streets, right? We're seeing it again in Minneapolis, all over the country now, including right here in New York. The rally in Union Square yesterday, as you saw, ended in violent clashes between police and protesters. So what message do you want to send to the NYPD this morning as the city braces for more rallies this weekend?
And I appreciate that comment. A lot of times we try to really sanitize who Dr. King was. I think that is a comment that everyone has to remember today, that the rise of the language of the unheard. And we need to focus on what is being unheard and what we can do to hear it and address it. Because if we do that, everything else falls into place. And so, again, I want to be a responsible elected official. So there's things that I won't encourage. But I can't say that there should be peace and peacefulness, because we've been saying no justice, no peace for a very long time. So I support nonviolence. I'm going to continue to ask and push for nonviolence. But we should understand that there are things that have to be addressed, and people are tired and fed up of the lip service of it. And we are now facing a budget where we're looking at cutting all of the youth programs up to 40%. Some youth programs, like some youth, being eradicated, and the police department staying almost at 100%. That's a message that doesn't fly right. And when black women are dying because they can't give birth and people believe their pain, when black and brown children can't get educated the same way, when COVID is striking disproportionately in the black and brown community, all of these institutions need to be addressed. And you can't send the police in to deal with it if we're not going to put the resources or even accept and admit what the problem is.
You know, there's a lot unfolding right now. You touched upon a lot of it right there. There's COVID, there's what's happening in Minneapolis, there's also happening in our own backyard in Central Park. You mentioned the bigger fish to fry. That was a comment made here on Pix 11 earlier in the week. And this morning we did talk to Chief Monahan about the incident in Central Park. And I want you to take a listen to what he had to say.
Our detectives are working hand in hand right now with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. We are investigating what, if any, charges can be brought against her. Obviously, we don't want to make an arrest if the Manhattan District Attorney's Office isn't sure if they could prosecute that. So we're taking a look at exactly what her calls were, speaking to Christian, speaking to Amy, speaking to everyone involved, looking through all the videos to see if it sustains a charge.
So the city's Human Rights Commission investigated this incident. So was the Manhattan DA. Those are a bit of different comments this morning from Chief Monahan. Your response?
You know, I want to be careful because I am a big supporter of restorative justice. So I'm glad that the Human Rights Commission is looking into it. What's most striking to me is that the disparate policing that we have. And so we have no problem, it seems, to use all of the tools at the disposal of the department, from arrests to summons and violations in certain communities. And then for this one, the response is we have bigger fish to fry. If this one, we have to see if there's a charge there. When all of us saw exactly what happened. And I want to make sure that people see the interconnectivity of what happened on that video and what happened in Minnesota, what's happened here in New York, and how comfortable she was in her privilege, that even being videotaped, nothing would happen. And that is an added stress that she had to increase her anger as she's saying she being attacked by an African American. And I saw a very powerful post that said, if Emmett Till had a cell phone, he might have been alive. If Christian Cooper did not, he might not be alive.
Right.
And so we are having these conversations because of video. What's happening in the everyday person who's unable to video the interactions that people later just don't believe.
Public Advocate Jumaane Williams, I appreciate you weighing in on these topics this morning, and continued safety to you. And I'm sure we'll be chatting with you in the days and weeks ahead. So thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.